Hello, everybody, and welcome to a new episode of Dental Disruptors podcast. I am your host, Jake Larsen, here with my co-host, Clint Berry. And we are back here in our recording area. We've done a lot of these interviews with other people, but today, just the two of us, so hopefully you find it interesting. The topic today is around the availability of data inside of dentistry, specifically with large dental organizations that are trying to access it, who owns it, who has the rights to charge for it, all of the different things that you may be hearing in the industry today. And we want to discuss it, share our opinions, because it will have some really big ripple effects across the organization. There's a lot of different things happening right now in regards to this. So we thought it would be awesome to record our thoughts, opinions. And for some of you, maybe this is news. I don't know. We'll see. Depends on who's listening to this. So anyway, Clint, let's, do you want to just kind of give everyone a quick breakdown of the state of data inside of dental right now?
Yeah. I think what's interesting right now is you have a lot of companies, big companies like Henry Schein, Eaglesoft, even Open Dental a little bit, trying to build cloud offerings, right? And host the data there where they have control of the data, they have control of the APIs. All of them are struggling to get customers over to their cloud offerings. So that's the first thing. And they're realizing it, right? Like we listened to the Henry Schein earnings call, and I think 10% of their customers have moved over to Ascend, and that's a lot still.
And it's primarily new offices opening.
Yeah, they're not migrating a lot of offices to it because it's like, why it works, it's fine.
Yeah.
So, what we're seeing now, and then Eaglesoft had Fuse, Patterson had Fuse, and they basically discontinued it because they couldn't get any traction on it.
Yeah.
For a number of reasons. It's not just because it's cloud-based, because cloud does have some great benefits for dental offices, right? Like they don't have to worry about backups. All you need is internet. You can access it from anywhere. There's an internet connection. But the disadvantage to cloud, and I think we've mentioned it a lot on this podcast, is you lose control of your data, meaning you don't have a direct access to it anymore. Mm-hmm. And if the cloud provider chooses to not let you access it, you don't get it. And so that's kind of scary. And so I think that's why we've seen Eaglesoft grow, or Open Dental grow more than others. In fact, Open Dental now is, from the data we have seen, is surpassed Eaglesoft and is now the second most used practice management system, which is just crazy to me that it hasn't gone cloud. It's one of the only industries still, at least with this percentage of market share, which is just crazy. They're looking at 60 to 70% still on-premise in general.
I said that a while ago. Clint didn't believe me that it was still that.
I didn't. And then I got some data from some other some cloud-based practice management systems that confirmed it. Yeah. I was like, oh, geez. Okay. Well, I mean, that's but what's happening is now, so I think Dentrix and Eaglesoft now have turned their attention back to the on-premise systems, to Dentrix Core, to Eaglesoft, and they're saying, well, we want to have control of this data as well, and are doing their best to lock people out of it and charge for it, essentially. Mm-hmm. And I think there's a couple of reasons why. There's the reasons they give you, which I'll start with, and I think are a little bit weird and not true. And then I think the real reasons.
Yeah.
And I think the reasons that they give off.
Before you go there, is there some context that people need to, just general non-technical individuals would need to understand as to why, or the difference between on-prem, cloud, where data is stored, any of that type of thing? I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory, I think. But
yeah, I mean, I guess just so people are clear, when I say on-prem, I mean it's running on a computer in your office, like you call it a server, but it's just a computer. And that's where the data is stored. And like when you install Eaglesoft or Dentrix Core or Open Dental, typically there's just a computer that holds the database.
Yeah, it's all that data is literally on that machine.
And you own it, and it's connected to your internet, right?
And so you're incurring all the costs of maintaining, updating new computers, backing up the data. You're responsible for that.
Totally. And that's why cloud seems so appealing, is like you don't have to worry about all that stuff. Mm-hmm. Now there's some great IT providers out there that manage it all for you. We have some great friends that we know that run open dental in a very stable way, that do all the backups, things like that. So it's totally doable, but it is on the responsibility of the office. So they incur the cost there and all the data transfer if there's any internet data transfer. But so Henry Schein, Patterson, even Open Dental to an extent are coming back and saying, no, we need to lock this down for a lot of reasons, right? Dentrix wants to have their closed ecosystem, and they don't want to share that. Honestly, they don't want to share that data with third parties because they have competitors. Like, that's really what it comes down to. They would not like to give the data to competitors when Henry Schein 1 is trying to be everything to the dental office. Mm. And so Weave is paying $45 a location. They had to sign up for the annual developer fee. And they basically just give that money to Henry Schein to access Dentrix Core, which again is on the computer owned by the doctor, internet powered by the doctor. The marginal cost for them to access that data for Henry Schein is zero.
Yeah.
So Henry Schein is just making $45 and it costs them nothing.
And I think that an important part of this that I think may be overlooked, but just to make sure that everybody understands what this actually means. Yes, it's $45, but not just $45 one time. Any vendor that wants to access that data is going to have to pay the same $45, right? So it's not that Henry Schein is making $45 one time. I talked to a DSO today that was like 9 or 10 locations, and she listed off a handful of vendors that they were using. They're probably 6 to 7 vendors. And if all of those vendors are required, Henry Schein is hitting, and it's not just Schein, right? Other people are charging for it too. We're just talking about that specific example, but they're getting that $45 every single time to access the same data that's on the same computer that's incurred. All the costs are incurred by the doctor who's already paying the practice management software for their own services, and it's just...
It may not be the entire cost is incurred by the doctor, right? I'm sure some of it is just, the vendor is eating some of it in their profit margin.
Potentially.
But ultimately, at least a substantial amount of it is going to be incurred by the doctor. He's just going to be paying it in that kind of like a Dentrix tax.
Yeah.
essentially. But he doesn't see it because it's not line item. Because the agreement that
is
these
between
vendors, the vendor signs the agreement with Henry Schein, and part of the agreement is you can't charge a Henry Schein tax on it.
Yeah.
And so they hide it from the dentist.
Explain what that means, right?
Essentially, it's like, hey, if you can use our developer program, but you can't increase your price for just Dentrix offices and say this is a Dentrix fee.
Yeah,
it's against the.
It has to be. So that means that if I'm a software vendor, in order to provide my services for Dentrix, Eaglesoft, whatever else, every single one of those I have to charge the same amount.
Yep.
Or
at least you can't call it. You can't blame Dentrix for their fee, even though it is their fee that causes it, like the extra cost. So the dentist never sees it. The owner never sees it. They don't know why it's costing extra, or they may not even know that cost is baked into it at all.
Yeah.
But you're right. With 6 vendors, the doctor can be paying a lot of extra money
every month,
and it's their data. They should be able to decide, like, no, I want this third party to see this data. They should be able to get access to it, and it should be free.
Yeah.
If it's a database on their own computer.
Yeah, that's an important thing to mention, right? If it's cloud-based, there are legitimate costs and things.
There's absolutely costs to power those databases, to power APIs, the data transfer.
Yeah.
Do I think it's $45 worth? No, I don't, but there is costs.
Yeah.
Whereas the marginal cost on premise, there's nothing, right?
Yeah.
Now, that being said, there are instances, and I've heard of this happening, where people are accessing the data not through the developer program and corrupt the database, do something wrong to it. And so I think that does happen. So I totally understand that point of view, but I also think that usually has to do with write-backs. That's not read-only.
Yep.
And so, like, when you're talking about, like, hey, I'm a DSO, I have 10 locations, and I want to just put my stuff into a data warehouse so I can aggregate it with other data sources, kind of like what we offer, that's not going to corrupt a database.
Yeah.
Right? That's just a read-only solution, and they shouldn't have to pay for that, in my opinion, if it's on-premise. But anyway, so that's kind of where we're at. There was a recent blog post by the CTO of
like a
Henry Schein
was it a
one.
blog post?
Oh,
Just
sorry.
like
it was just a LinkedIn post.
What year are we in? Are there blogs?
Sorry,
Just kidding.
that's showing my age. He actually lives in Utah. I'm sure he's a great guy. I actually don't know him, but he had this analogy that I just fundamentally disagreed with, where it was
Clint
like,
couldn't help but comment.
I know I probably shouldn't comment, but it's fine. I'm sure if we met in person, we'd align on a lot of things that we get along on about, but this one I don't. He compared it to like a dog park, and he's like, you don't want people pooping on your dog park. There needs to be
there's rules in the dog park.
Rules in the dog park.
And this is why, because you don't want the dogs or the people or the individuals that are not following the rules make the dog park messier for everybody else. Yeah. And you don't want to hang out in that dog park because no one's following the rules.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's a little bit interesting because we were trying to decide where the dog park was. And it was like, wait, is the dog park on the dentist computer?
Yeah.
Because if the dog park's on the dentist computer,
then he can
it's really interesting.
Whatever.
He invited Dentrix into his dog park, and he invited a vendor in his dog park, but Dentrix is like, no, here's the rules of your dog park.
Yeah. So this is what Clint or like if it's like someone coming to your house.
Yeah.
And you invite this person to your house and said, hey, bring your dog. They can hang out with my dog in the backyard. And then they come and tell you, well, your dog can't do that. Or, you know, I'm going to tell you what the rules of your backyard are.
Yeah. It was pretty interesting. Anyway, so I didn't like it. Also, the charging DSOs for their own data just kills me. I'm like, they should just be able to have access to it.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's kind of where I sit. But obviously, I'm not biased at all, though.
Yeah. Clint will tell you how he really feels. So, I mean, it's a really impactful place that the industry is in. There are conversations between Schein and other organizations happening, even lawsuits and things. We won't dive into those.
Well, we should talk about it a little bit.
You want to talk?
Yeah, because it could be like really pivotal, right?
Okay. I just don't know how much for you.
Well, I read the complaint, the public complaint.
Okay. All right, let's talk about it.
So Vyne is suing Henry Schein, and I think they're both suing each other.
Counter-suing.
Yeah, but I haven't read Henry Schein's complaint yet, but I did read Vyne's complaint because it's public, and it's in the courts in Maryland. And the accusation is that Henry Schein updated Dentrix to look for services that Vyne has running on the computer and shut them down.
Them specifically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then even disabling the print driver so you couldn't print your claims. Like, that's how locked down they're getting it.
Yeah.
And so my question to this is like, why? Why is it getting this cutthroat? Because that seems crazy. That's like interference. That means doctors couldn't process their claims if they use Vyne. Like, that's a pretty big deal.
Yeah.
Vyne worked around it. It's fine. We're gonna watch this lawsuit to see how it goes. It should be super interesting.
Fascinating. Yeah.
But like, why did Henry Schein do that? Why did Dentrix 1 do that? Or Henry Schein 1 do that? And the only thing I can think of is it has to be this. They see how important the data is. They see that they don't want to give it access to competitors. And something that's interesting is the other Vyne's biggest competitor, Dental Exchange.
Dental Exchange, yeah.
Who had a big influx of cash from the same private equity holder as Henry Schein. And so you're kind of like,
right.
Conspiracy
Yeah, conspiracy theories here.
I don't know. It's super weird. It's interesting. We'll have to just see how it goes and how it watches. But even in this age of AI, like the data is even more valuable than it ever has been before. And so to me, it's like really important that DSOs are empowered to take that data. The large DSOs should be able to train their own models and do things with the data that they want to do. And there's so much a DSO could do with that data. They just need to get really easy access to it.
Yeah. And we've talked a lot about Schein, but it's not only Henry Schein that's charging for it. I mean,
sometimes you pick on them because they're the biggest, right?
And it's just because they're the biggest, and right now they're in the news with Vyne.
Yeah.
That post recently
But they all act the same, right? Like Patterson just follows behind what they do. And so like if Schein wins this lawsuit, no doubt Patterson will follow suit. And even Open Dental is locked down. You know, they have their list of approved vendors, and then if you want to write access to it, you need to pay us $35 a month. And it's at least though, Open Dental still has a free read only, which I appreciate.
So let's talk just we've gone for a little while now, so we'll be brief on this last part. But I just want to talk about what this, and this is hypotheticals. This is all just our opinions, right? But what potentially is the result of this for the industry as a whole?
Like the lawsuit?
Yeah, if it goes one way or the other.
Yeah, if it's deemed that it's not illegal to get that data out of a third-party software on the computer owned by the doctor,
The doctor's given permission.
The doctor gives permission to say, yeah, you can go extract that data from Dentrix, and I give you permission to do that on my computer. If they deem that that's not illegal, then at least third-party vendors that don't want to pay that egregious fee for read-only access will be able to at least attempt it. Mm-hmm. I do not think that will force Henry Schein to open up the data. I think they still, from a technological perspective, can play that cat and mouse game where they keep trying to shut people out and changing how they access it and increasing the encryption or increasing the passwords to try and keep people out. Mm-hmm. But at least it'll be deemed not illegal.
Yeah.
So we'll just have to see if that's the case. If it is deemed illegal, there's like hundreds, thousands of vendors that will have to join the developer program, and that's just the way it goes.
And the unfortunate result of that is costs are going to increase.
Yeah, the cost for everyone, for all your software vendors, is going to go up. And Henry Schein will have an advantage, right? Because they won't have that tax.
Yeah.
If you use our product, you don't have, we're cheaper than everybody else because.
Yeah.
So it feels anti-competitive. I don't know if that lawsuit would ever win. That's a hard one to win, but we'll have to see.
I just think it's fascinating. A couple of points that you made, right? Like the Dentrix tax thing is incredible, right? Because like that means that any vendor, regardless of whether you use Dentrix or not, you're going to feel the impacts of it.
Yeah, no doubt.
Right?
If you're using Dentrix,
well, even if you're
not, because the price
for everything has to
all
be
third parties go up. Yeah, no, this is true.
So the entire industry would feel ripple effects of cost increase.
I wonder if there's a way around that part. Like you wonder if like a vendor's like, oh, we give an EagleSoft discount
to some
or an
extent,
Open Dental discount.
Right?
I don't know.
But like
their general broadly, it would go up.
If I'm EagleSoft or if I'm a vendor, right, and I can charge, you can charge more. You're probably going to some extent.
Yeah,
like,
probably.
So I would, and once again, it's just my opinion. I would assume that would, if it plays out that way, undoubtedly there would be some cost increase across the board, which is a bummer. And not just for one of the vendors, but for all of them.
Yeah, that's what stinks. It's like, oh man,
it's a multiple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What would be really cool is if like, a DSO is like, hey, I want access to my data. We take the data out, they put it in some sort of data store, and then they can share that with third parties. They get to control it. Like, okay, I'll give you access. Here's only the tables that you're allowed to access, or we strip out the PHI data.
Maybe
I keep thinking about making that product. I don't know if that would fly with DSOs or not. But
it's really going to depend here anyway.
Yes, that's true. Well, I'm pretty sure like the large DSOs are going to be able to negotiate to get that data out somehow. They might have to pay for it. But.
Yeah.
And if they have to pay for it, they might migrate practice management systems. Quite honestly, they'll be like, okay, we'll pay for it now, but we're going to transition off of that because that's a freaking ripoff and we hate you for it.
Yeah, think about that. A big DSO, every vendor, every cost, like, yep, that adds up quick. Yep. Huh. Cool. Well, hopefully everyone found this insightful, if nothing else, maybe learned something. But it definitely, when we talk about disruptive things in the dental industry, this is something that is on our minds a lot, and hoping for the best so that we can protect the actual business owners and their pocketbooks, and ultimately giving them access to the data that they need to run their business, right? Like that's really what's most important here. So anyway, thank you so much for joining us. Thanks for your expertise, knowledge, and studying, Clint, in preparation for this. Yeah. We look forward to everyone joining us next time on Dental Disruptors podcasts.